Well, hello, everybody. Come on in. Welcome to the Cluster Puck Podcast, part of the MHRT Network here at Center Ice. I am Nick. Joining beside me is Brit. There we go. I can't speak English today. How's it going, Brit?
It's going good. I am running on fumes, but we've got a few of them left to me. How are you doing?
There you go. I'm ready for the weekend. I agree with you there. I'm starting to get on the fume stage myself. So
yeah.
But
that cold weather down there.
It's been a rather warm January, all things considered. It's bizarre because I'm looking at like New Orleans and Florida, like that are getting snow.
Did you see the picture of the guy playing hockey in the road?
Yes, I saw the video of that. It was so cool. We haven't seen so much as one snow here. It was a green Christmas. It's been a green New Year. I can't believe it. It's the most weird winter pattern I've ever seen. So
which usually just means it's going to be extra brutal when it shows up like ours was.
Yeah, and that's probably going to last till May. Let's be real. Ridiculous.
I feel like my expectation of like fall starting it in September and then Christmas and snow in December keeps being more off from how it actually occurs every year.
No, that's
It was on Christmas. I think I wore just a hoodie.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Our Christmas was mid-30s, and which for us is like nothing.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's strange. I just remember as a kid that snow came like before Halloween.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I remember. One year we were princesses. But then we were snowboarders because we wanted to wear coats and princesses don't need coats.
Yeah, it's weird and wacky, kind of just like the Avalanche season. So let's kind of jump into that. But before we do, don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow the MHRT Network so you can get notified when shows like the Cluster Puck Podcast go live. You can do so on the various social media platforms of your choosing. And if you want to follow us, you may do so at the Cluster Puck Podcast on Facebook and at Cluster Puck Avs on Twitter, Instagram, and Threads. Okay, Brit. Gosh, I right now I'm so flustered by just kind of how the Avalanche play has been that I don't even know where to begin. Oh, hey, there you are.
I am.
Weird.
Well, I was fixing
I don't get this. We're in a weird spot.
I think we've hit every emotion, prediction, expectation, anything that we can suggest or hope for or pray against. At this point, set them free. And if they come back with the Stanley Cup, then it was meant to be.
I guess. I don't know, man. Let's go over the last 3 games or 4 games that we talked about. 1-2-1 was the record. Not really the best.
Yeah. We're supposed to be like the hometown team forever, right?
Well, was
that just last year that we had the run at home? Or was that the year?
Yep, where Nathan McKinnon was about to score in every home game until they decided to not give a secondary assist to McKinnon against the Rangers, which I'm not upset about. I know every detail about it, but I'm not upset. But yeah, that was last season.
Oh, man. Can we adopt Georgie for just the Rangers games? Because I was talking to my dad, and we were trying to figure out when he stole a game, and it was pretty much only against the Rangers, right? The Rangers shootouts.
Yeah, I think that's exactly when he performs to his best. What's that? Yeah.
Yeah, so, I don't
know. This whole week, I titled the episode "Constantly Confusing" because that's kind of what I am feeling right now, and I'm assuming you agree.
No, literally within the same hour, I can argue with somebody that they're going to win a cup and argue that they might not even make the playoffs with the lows being so low. Sorry, my hoodie string's going to drive me insane if I have to look at it any longer. Is off, but it's and the thing is like it's not like we're fair weathery fans, because I feel like I've held on and said just let them find some consistency, some stability in the line. And at this point, it's like, so if we don't have Nichushkin, we are literally just like flying off the rails. The highs are so high, and I all the way up there, and then the lows are like, this cannot be the same team. And we're playing that low with really good goalies now. So it's just like, it feels like the excuses are out. I don't know. So I had to turn my fan on. I just got off the ice, literally. I'm like,
no, you're good. You're good. Everyone appreciates you, the effort that you do. And you're right, talking about Val Nichushkin. I mean, I guess we'll get into that in just a second because of that injury that they did announce. So we'll talk about the details after we talk about the games. But the first one, let's kind of jump into, is the game against the Edmonton Oilers. You lost the game for scored 4 straight. That's the big ick.
Maybe the most disappointing game that in my like rememberable Avalanche fanhood. Like, it's almost disgust. No? Or am I just being dramatic?
No, I think that's totally justified. Again, we've been on the receiving end of comebacks before, right? But this one felt different, right? Where it's like, this is one where you should have won this game regardless.
Right.
Just the poor play after McKinnon's second goal just was inexcusable.
And there was essentially 40 minutes to shut it down. It's not like they had a hot 2-minute span where they ripped you off and then pulled, this hurt way more. Like, way more. I would much rather they lose in a flash. But the fact that it felt like nothing ever turned the momentum. And it's like, someone needs to be, whatever that momentum changer is, but it just feels like we're lacking a couple different needs, and we're the healthiest we've been in quite some time.
Yeah, and the hard part, yes, like crapping away a three goal lead is not fun. The only excusable part is because you jumped to a lead that early. They had 2 full periods to come back, but at the same token, you had 2 full periods with a 3-goal lead.
Yeah,
as the Colorado Avalanche.
Lockdown defense, like it. I get even letting in 2, but to get to, not feel about it.
It's not fun, and this is probably one of the worst games I think that we'll probably see Blackwood play. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and still, and I'm biased, but like, still wouldn't blame the goalie. Your goalie's going to steal some, and sometimes you need to swipe a few out of the front of the net or fucking, cover your man. Stinking cover your man. I'm sorry. I know.
Passion, that's all it is.
Very frustrating for me. I enjoy beating the Oilers, and the Oilers are so annoying. Fans. The Oilers are fine. The Oilers fans are just, I feel like they make Toronto look like just the sweetest, most, pleasured people ever. But Edmonton's got to be so loud about everything. I don't know if you've been following this saga with the King himself being assessed a 3-game penalty for.
I know. What is this league going to do without Connor McDavid for 3 whole games, man?
Which I get it. And like, I do understand why they feel that he is a little entitled, and I believe in taking care of your stars. Our situation is different because our all-star is expected to, like, he's just not nearly as doesn't have the poise of McDavid. I don't know. But kudos to Connor Garland. Edmonton's gonna be all right. Like, welcome to NHL hockey, like, where I don't know. But I hate losing to Edmonton. We were at the Dallas game, but I'm mixing them up now.
We did. We were at the DNVR sports bar, right?
Yeah.
When we watched the Oilers game.
That was a game of
We got to cheer for the one goal that we scored and then promptly lost. I remember that.
Yeah. Well, but I was like, you know what? Okay, it hurts. Don't like it, but they're not in our division. Now let's really go. Like, shrug it off. And then we moved on, and we did that phenomenally.
Yep. Exactly. And speaking of, with actually those same two teams from our little walk down memory lane, let's put it on a high note. So, despite that loss, you then go to beat the Dallas Stars. So remember, this is your 3 games that we talked about: division, all of which you're chasing.
Yeah, 4 points.
Dallas Stars, step 1.
They were directly above us through the entirety of this homestand, weren't they? Where
they were, they're still in front of us right now as far as standings are concerned.
I did just see Krill is back, so that sucks.
That's right. I got the Utah Minnesota game up right now, and which I'll get to in just a second. There's a reason I got it up. So here's the interesting thing about that Dallas game. You win 3-6. This is how the Edmonton game should have gone.
Right.
That's the best way I can put it. You played almost the exact same way for those first 20, 30 minutes. If you just kept doing that.
Dallas is as tough an opponent.
Yeah, and Dallas ain't any slouch.
They're more well spread out, and Dallas has a far superior goalie. I'm gonna die without chapstick, so I'm sorry. I keep looking, but
no, you're good. I can keep going. But this game was one where the Avalanche kind of had control of the entire game. Yeah, there was a couple of times where Dallas pulled a couple of back-to-backs to make it close, but it never felt like it was going to get out of hand. You're just kind of like, a couple of lapses. You don't really care all that much.
Right.
But again, you played a full 60 minutes of urgency that we always talk about, not panic, urgency. And Blackwood played stellar. Yeah. The rest of the team was phenomenal. I mean, just overall, that's how the Edmonton game should have gone.
Yeah. So. I just don't. You'd think that we had gone from playing the Sioux City Squirt Green team to then playing like the Detroit Red Wings of 2001 when.
Yeah.
Did we change anything about the roster from those 2 games?
Other than Ivan, I think.
Which if Ivan changes your game so
he's night and day, man.
Right. We probably have a lot bigger issues than losing games.
Yeah. But again, that's one where you're like, that's the Avalanche game. You having an all right time over there?
Well, yeah, I had to turn the fan on, so it kept blowing my hair around. So I keep touching my face, and now I just realized with the chapstick on, it'll stay.
No, you're good. We all know you're just training for that magazine photo shoot you have here in a week.
I
wish I had that problem.
I'm a mess. I was straightening hockey helmet cramps out of my hair and eating a Culver's cheeseburger at the same time.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
Yeah.
That sounds like a jolly good time. Anyway, so great game. I mean, that's the game that we like to see.
It felt like surely this is a leaping point. We're gonna vault from here and hit a nice little peak.
But you didn't. You decided to take that beautiful leap upward that tumbled you right off of a cliff.
Yeah, it honestly
and,
like I don't even.
It was so frustrating. So
we're not mad. We're just disappointed.
That's right. That's exactly right.
And sort of mad also.
That's also true. So you lose now to the Minnesota Wild 3-1.
Yeah.
Which
still can't blame the goalie. Sorry, buddies.
No, no. This is again. I feel like in these instances, these 4 games, the offense was hot and cold. It was night and day, red and blue. Like it was so opposite. I couldn't even.
Everything in this team, though, nothing runs right at the same time.
Mm-hmm. And I don't get it. That's the hard part. And it bleeds into even this most recent game that the Avalanche had against the Winnipeg Jets, where you lose 3-2 in overtime. 17 seconds worth of overtime, might I add. I was getting down to be like, okay, here we go. Oh, it's over.
I
Okay.
know.
You know,
Poor Woody. Dude.
I couldn't believe it.
He had some of this. I feel like we're just going to be saying this forever. He had a couple incredible saves that I think he stretched wider than I mean, can't blame the goalie there. Like,
oh no. And Cale Makar had a highlight reel goal where he was falling down. Again, he just continues to put highlight reel after highlight reel goals together. Like it's incredible. That these two games were so similar in that you just came out of the gate sluggish.
Yeah.
Granted, they did kind of as well, but they at least were able to get some kind of momentum swings and bounces their way and stuff like that. Whereas the Avalanche, it took them forever. And
there was never a bit. We never felt in control. And like, I look at Winnipeg and they're literally beating my team. And I'm like, they're not that good though. And it's just, I don't know, kind of feels like a Hellebuck, like mind game we got going on here.
Well, and that's what confuses me though, is so right now is I'm watching, I have up on my phone right here, the Utah-Minnesota game. Utah is beating Minnesota in Minnesota 4-0. And there's about 7 minutes left in the game.
These are all like goaltenders in the NHL. So obviously this is not completely relatable, but I'd imagine it ties up. Playing beer league, when you're playing for like a high level hockey that is everybody's relatively even and close, things get expectable, like body language is predictable. When you go down, and I always wonder if that's why like Arizona and Utah, they mess people up because it's too, it throws them off. You know what I mean?
There
like
is
it's
that aspect,
almost
sure.
So because Hellebuck is also an incredibly lucky goalie. He had luck all the way up the woo-ha last night. There was a couple pucks that were so open. I just was on the verge of exploding.
Couple of times where the defense did bust Hellebuck out because he was out of position. Yeah. I'd agree.
But that's what they do. They don't have to score a lot.
Yeah,
they play.
That's the crazy part. So like I said, so Utah, who on paper is not as good as Colorado, right? I went to the game where Winnipeg was here in Utah. So I went to that game just to kind of see what Colorado could expect. Yeah. I thought Winnipeg was going to beat the doors off of Utah, like 5-0, 5-1, something like that. Utah pulls out a win 5-2, and they made Hellebuck look junior league.
That's why hockey is the worst and also the best.
Which is so crazy.
Nothing.
Because I was like, okay, so I took notes. I was like, okay, Hellebuck can't do really well against tip shots. When his defense leaves him out to dry, he's really susceptible. I was like, okay, there's all these things that if the Avalanche are taking notes, you can just go and do.
And so I said, like, if we had just put him away the other day, it would have essentially like accounted for a certain amount of wins in the playoffs were we to see him again. He may have even had to like go to a mental hospital that night if we could have like blown the doors off.
Yeah.
Granted, we have to shoot, right? Like on the penalty kill and the power play and 5-on-5.
Yeah, there are times where you need to actually throw that little black thing. You know, this guy right here, this is a hockey puck.
Yeah.
You shoot that into the
big joke about declining the power play feels not as funny.
I really think you should have the ability to do that.
Yeah, it's going to shave people like minutes off people's lives every time we have to watch this. And it's so frustrating because there's times that you see like Drew or Middlestat, whatever combination of anyone, you see them say screw it and just take the shot and have a snipe of a goal. And it's like, you got to wonder, you know, what is it that sparks that for them to take it? Because it just, I mean, I'm not trying to be like the dad in the stands yelling shoot and wheels, but like at some point it is
It should be obvious.
Get sloppy. Like I don't know.
Yeah. And so that was where my confusion lies right now, is because Utah right now is able to do what Colorado offensively could not, which doesn't make sense because Colorado has Nathan McKinnon, Mikko Rantanen, Cale Makar, who's on
some of the most elite shooters on this whole planet. All of it. I think Rantanen might be one of the best in the league that a lot of people don't realize. I really don't, which his contract talks might be getting him more out there, but I don't know. I guess goalies probably know him. And I mean, his shot. Did you see the one where he was on the back door? He did his, Mikko Rantanen shovel, full body into it, rebound, boom, right back on his stick. Standing like almost straight up, shoots it again, and just stands there staring at it like, buddy, you don't get 2 rebounds that go like that. Which rants, you're never going to hesitate shooting when you're literally standing up against the goalie. But it was so funny. I thought I sent you the video. The announcers were like ragging on the Avs, saying that it's just too bad that Winnipeg didn't capitalize because the Avs were like slow off the ice or something like that. And then McKinnon like blazes through the ice, like literally within the same fluid thought. Winnipeg's announcers are awful. Sorry, I got off on a long tangent of thoughts.
No, you're good.
I can't believe I didn't send you that.
That's okay.
Yes,
effectively though, what I can't wrap my brain around is that you're chasing those 3 teams, Dallas, Minnesota, Winnipeg. You're able to get past Dallas. Great. That's step 1.
Right.
But you run into a wall when it comes to these other 2, and yet someone who is out of the playoffs, still in your division, speaking of Utah, they're mowing down these same 2 teams that you struggled against, and they are supposed to be worse than you. That's the frustrating part to me, is I know they have the capability because offensively they are better than, I would dare to say, everyone else in the division. Winnipeg, Dallas, Minnesota included. Their firepower should be the best in the Central Division. It's the mental block that I'm struggling to understand why they are even having that when it's just play a full 60 minutes.
I know.
You know what I mean?
I don't know. I think that they're still struggling to find like the team's identity and settle it out. But it is also weird. I mean, how do you feel about Middleton as like a mainstay? I mean, it feels like we're pushing again, like a McDermott, like a Johnson, like we're gonna just keep pushing something.
Yeah, I'd agree. I feel like he's not doing anything wrong, but it just feels like
doing things. He's just very lovable. Also,
he is. He's a big old teddy bear.
Do we need an enforcer though? Like, is that?
You do.
I go back and forth. I consider hockey is like a fast, violently moving sport with contained walls. Like you don't need football. You run out of the court, blow it off. I think about hockey so differently, the way that everything is contained and blows and blows. I think it was Jeff Merrick that kind of talked about it. I do value fighting, especially when you have, I think McKinnon is the greatest hockey player in the world. But I value different things than some other people. So we have to have tough people. But to sacrifice that, I think he had I was trying to pull up the 4th line stats. I mean, we're running Taze and Makar into the ground again. Yeah. And that's like, Makar has been playing so good. When does he get hurt? If he's playing tired. I mean, it just... I don't know what their identity kind of is with and Kiviranta ran out of he'll be back later, playoffs. I don't know, he's fine, but it just seems like they're struggling so hard when this shouldn't be the hard part.
Yeah. See, to me though, the concern right now, despite missing Val, which we'll talk about in just a second, is is how people are now kind of starting to clamber for Casey Middlestat to be traded.
Oh my God.
Already.
Friends. Ugh. I am someone that I would consider relatively impatient about exciting things, or when I know that there are other solutions. I'm not somebody that will like wait if there's not a reason to, or but the way that people bail on their like athletic friends, their professional athletic comrades is terrifying to me, because I don't even want to know how, like, the stuff that they would say to like their server, or because the stuff that is said on the internet is so personal and awful. And then you watch that guy talk. He's just like, sometimes athletes of all ages are playing their hardest. It's not about not caring, and it's not about going backwards. Like, it just, you have to go until it clicks. And I just can't give up on him with what we saw in the playoffs. He's not old. It's going to be a beautiful deal as it ages when the cup. I mean, it's just have some patience. And
yeah. And here's the thing, like, as a 2C, I think the ultimate issue stems from the fact that Nazem Kadri, the year we won the cup, was so stupidly good as a 2C that became the measuring stick that we must have.
I wish that it was different, because people have to stop and consider that the 2C is always going to be a relatively fluid issue within any organization, because unless you are the 2C for the like declared final best team in the league, and there's only one center better than you, the 2C is always going to be aiming to be the 1C somewhere else, and it's a constant, and then somebody else is getting older. 2C is one of the most fluid because it's just not as interchangeable. You know,
well, because
I think people are fixated on it in
exactly, because right now Middlestat, I mean, he got a goal in one of those games that we talked about.
Yeah.
Would I appreciate some more goal production from him? You bet. Because from where he was coming from, he was the top scorer in Buffalo when we acquired him. However, there needs to be some kind of come back down to earth moment where you have to see the roster around him. This team shares the puck relatively well, all things considered, but it always ends up being those same superstars, McKinnon, Rantanen, Makar, etc., that will go and take those goals. The important thing, though, is that Middlestat is still racking up some assists.
Right.
So he's still involved in the play.
The detriment on the defensive end is where you start having people going ballistic. And I just wish that would go for a while. We've had a lot of things to bitch about, and we're kind of running out of them again, you know?
Yeah. No, you're exactly right.
People expect Kadri to just be a 2C for the rest of his life, putting up points of with
the season
Mario Lemieux. Like, I just don't have, people are,
it's not surprising, you know. And Kadri went and chased after the purse, and he got it, and that's kind of, he realized it wasn't going to be as good a team, but it's a business, right? Hockey it's a business, right? So again, as far as Middlestat's play is concerned, he's kind of like stagnant, where he's not doing anything to hurt the team, which is important. And he's doing just enough as far as points, as far as maybe like secondary, primary assists, something like that, where he is still scoring or in the scoring category. Does that make sense?
It just sucks too, because I don't like, Bednar obviously knows more, but it just seems like the ways that they are using him aren't entirely like, I can't even think of the word I'm trying to say. Not always ways that would be good to help a guy get out of a slump, or we're not like, you know what I mean? I don't know, but he knows his guys and what it's going to take. And you can tell that he just wants to scream in the mic and just say, what do I have to do? But apparently he just has to move his feet.
Exactly. Okay. Moving into now the Val Nichushkin situation. I knew that this would happen, where everyone who was so against Val Nichushkin coming back to the team are
Yeah.
now all of a sudden like, oh, it sucks when he's injured. We can, you can tell he's missing, and they're back to loving him. So that's, lo and behold, predictable. But
yeah, I was trying to explain it to my not like sport friend, and I said it at this point it feels like an abusive relationship because we need him, even if some people want him, some people hate him, but it's clear at this point that it feels like the team has no option without him. And maybe I'm being dramatic. I know that nobody's ever thought that of me before, but
no,
it's
right.
Insane, the difference.
It really is. And that's the tough part, though, is they found ways to win without him, right? So that's inexcusable. However, the frustrating part, again, with being an Avalanche fan is they really don't disclose the injuries very well, and all of a sudden a day-to-day injury becomes a week-to-week injury.
He's going on the trip with us. Oh, no. His femur's broken. My bad.
Yeah. Well, we're sending him home. Yeah. I don't know.
I didn't even see what the injury was. I
didn't either.
Going nonstop for a couple days. I was scared that I would hop on here and miss. I don't think I've checked any of Twitter for the most part.
Yeah.
But I wanted to figure out what that injury was because it worries me that it's like some deep muscle injury because it had to be such a seemingly harmless shift. You know what I mean? Like that game, I think people tore it apart and there wasn't really, we all thought he had a concussion, right?
That's what I think the consensus was. But again, there wasn't anything that stood out to me as like, oh, wow, that was a huge Val hit or something like that,
Well, and then the people saying he's made of glass. He played through the Stanley Cup with a broken foot. Let me grab you a picture quick. He's pretty tough.
Yeah, you want to see the X-rays?
Something that wouldn't be aggravated by continuing to play, I guarantee you he would be here. Or because he's legally required or NHL rules required.
Yeah, exactly. So when he's coming back, I don't know.
No.
Again, that's the hard part with being an Avs fan is they'll tell you one thing, but it's always subject to change. So
once we hit this point where they changed, they said it was short, and then boom, it's long. It always makes me wonder, like, he could literally just like have moved to Russia. You know what I mean? Like, it freaks me out. But he has had a couple injuries this year, so
he has.
Hopefully, he's not leaving us.
So the big thing that the Avs are going to need to do is to figure out a way to win without him, because remember they had to do that at the beginning of the season. Granted, there was that massive losing streak, but it was followed by a massive winning streak. They figured something out. So they're going to need to pull that magic back from whatever hat they pulled that out of and realize that maybe it's Middlestad or Lehkonen that has to step up on that second line.
I don't know. And at what point do we have to make a trade? Thinking that because they kind of talked about it a little bit on Grill Sports too, but like when you look at our team and how successful Val is, and he'd be good anywhere, but it almost seems like it has to come down to this. Our team is high flying, fast, finesse, sniping, but Val, he breaks that mold, and you got to wonder if he almost like throws stuff off, and he's like a little Gabe, a bigger Gabe, new age
Something
Gabe.
like that.
But I mean, just garbage and work, and like the back checking, if it's almost just throws their defensive plans, and like in the NHL, the quarters of percents are what win you games and Stanley Cups, over other teams. So do we go find someone like that to have also, or can you even
see my argument against that though is just Val's kind of one of a kind. Like that's the hard thing. There are those that possess things that he can do, but he's kind of got the whole package where he's a big body down in front in the slot. He's really great with those rebounds and tips, but he forechecks really well. The only thing he can't do very well is skate fast.
Yeah.
But you can't blame him because he's a big dude, And
the ones that are out there are not on the tail end of a horrific career start being sold for nothing on a fire sale. Like,
Exactly.
That was a once in a lifetime, and that's kind of probably a big part why it really needs to work out, because that's what you need to win a cup.
Yep. And he's got plenty of time left on this contract of his to get back on track and whatnot. So again,
Or
it's
for us to be miserable.
Maybe that's just with injuries. Again, the more injuries you get, the more you are being susceptible of them.
What are we going to talk about when we don't have Gabe and Nik on the slate and on the mind and complicating all the matters?
We're going to talk about the good old days when they were back on the slate, both of them winning a Stanley Cup.
It's so weird. Everybody's going to just start yelling to trade Sam Girard, and
I don't know.
I don't know, man. I think
going back to that train,
Linsky, though,
the
is
trade Sam Girard train.
Yeesh. Girard has been phenomenal.
He's been so good
all year.
He's been so great.
He is going to make people talking about him being overpaid need to go take a look at where the salaries are balancing out as we get through these. Sam Girard is...
There's a guy named Seth Jones. Go look that name up.
Oh, I think he might be looking to get out too. I don't know. He is not my cup of tea.
A lot of Chicago players are probably looking to get out.
It's probably like a dangerous path to take too many dudes who came from a winning or from a losing association that haven't really won any. I hate it when they say he's never won anything, but like I do think that there is something that like you get to take with you some kind of juju when you win the Stanley Cup. I think it's the best award in sports. And it is something that has power in a locker room with Casey Middlesteds. Like guys that they've just been losing for a long time. Some of them get here and they say, F yeah, well, let's go get a cup. And others are like just relatively complacent. And I feel like Middlested's at that point that are you complacent with just being an NHL player who is really good and is going to make good money and can go to a team and not have the same expectations? Or do you want to win a Stanley Cup? Like, yeah. And I couldn't do it. Like, and that's what I think he wants to, but it's just, he's going to have to figure out what it's going to take.
Exactly. Okay. Let's shift gears for a second. I do want to do a quick little tidbit on the upcoming, I guess, 2025-2026 season outdoor games that were announced.
Those jerseys and helmets.
I wanted to get your opinion on this, hence why I decided to kind of throw it in before we do the upcoming games. So for those of you who aren't aware, just a week or two ago, they announced the outdoor games for next season. Yeah. Plenty of familiar names out there. As all of them had another outdoor game within the last three seasons, minus obviously the Panthers, who had never had an outdoor game.
The Florida thing isn't like, I don't know, just doesn't do, it's not like doing it for me. I don't know. A lot of people are excited about it, I guess. I'm sure it will sell out. I just don't have this like weird lust for ice in the tropics. I don't know.
So it's between the Florida Panthers and New York Rangers at Lone Depot Park, where the Miami Marlins play. Yeah. And then it's going to be the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Boston Bruins at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa.
That one's a weird one.
Here's the thing is, originally I was like, okay, that's super dumb because it's going to be 72 degrees. Right. But here's the thing. I was quickly reminded that they were able to do 2 of these outdoor games at Dodger Stadium. Right? It's exactly. It's all about keeping the ice at temperature, right? Which they said there's plenty of ways to do despite how hot it could be outside. What I can't stand though is 3 of those 4 teams had literally just gotten back from having their own stadium series or outdoor or winter classic, 0 in the West.
Yeah.
right?
And
Like,
like,
I get
we
that
have our own ice here. You don't even have to make it for us.
no, seriously. And that's the
It's so
thing. It's like
cool.
you could have done so many things with so many different teams, and
especially with, I don't know how far ahead do you think they plan them? Like Bruins and Tampa's like, let's go watch the old man fight. Like,
I don't know. And that's the hard part too. It's like
yeah.
if you ask me, I thought a Colorado Utah outdoor series game
Oh God, that
would
would
have
be fun.
been peak.
I feel
No
like they
pun
owe us
intended.
a good one because that Tahoe game was like
Because
broken up, and then
that's Rocky Mountains, that's elevation, that's cold outside. Like you get everything you could ask for. Additionally,
like it's not on the lake.
additionally, the Battle of Alberta, throw that outside in Banff National Park. I don't care.
Oh,
There are
why do they act
so
like
many
Canadians
other
wouldn't sit
teams that
outside in the freezing cold? Like that's
like use teams that haven't had them in a while, right?
Yeah. Except Edmonton.
So I don't know. I mean, even Allie, a Rangers fan, my wife, was like, I'm kind of done with it being the same teams, hers included. So I wanted to get your thoughts on that real quick, because to me it's just like they're recycling the same freaking teams.
Exactly. And like jerseys and stuff, like space makes the heart font time. Not playing in a stadium series for a while makes the fan fonder of when it comes
exactly
back.
Yep,
and
here's the thing.
We even lined it up with like the cool like stadiums, but how is a dome that's shut and out, like, you cheaters? It's not even cool. I just don't understand why people are so tantalized and talking about it like they're gonna they're making it feel like they have this ice rink on Panama Beach, and it's just there.
Because here's the thing: is there's 2 outdoor games played every year. There's the Stadium Series and the Winter Classic, right? That's 4 teams. So every 8 years, effectively, is when your team should be playing in one of those 2 games, right? That's a long enough period where it's like, oh, do you remember that? That was so long ago. But there's another one coming just around the corner, right? An average of 8 years. Yeah.
And Detroit was the last one. Was the first one.
What's that?
We played the Kings and Detroit. So Detroit is.
And Vegas in Tahoe. They're calling that one an outdoor series.
Okay. That's fine. Accounting wise, I suppose it goes down that way, but how are you right on paper?
But again, here's the thing. It's just more the fact that someone who hasn't gone for so long, like I think San Jose is knocking off 10 years now.
Especially when they're so fun. Freaking just do Utah and the Sharks. I do not even care what the hockey is.
Seriously.
We're all having a blast. We'll have inflatables everywhere.
Exactly. But and that's the thing. It's like,
so
I get that they are, there's 2 original 6s and there's the whole rivalry that they've been having recently and blah 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 blah. But again, they're too close together for this to be a novelty, like a marquee event, whatever it is. So that's my 2 cents. Is you need to get someone new, someone from the West.
I don't think that, obviously, hockey in Florida is established and it's there to stay, but like, you don't have to try to make it such a thing. Like, people like hockey for the vibe that it's like when I don't know. I'll just keep on bitching. When was the last time an Original 6 won the cup? I am like having a major brain fart right now.
Was it not Chicago about 10 years ago? 11 years ago? Somewhere around there.
It just doesn't want to load it. So, but honestly, unless you're in Canada, because I guess it works for you or something, I don't think many people, especially as this older generation gets out, give a crap about the Original 6. Like, I think you could go to a pretty avid hockey fan and they may not really know what the term means,
Yeah.
But they're really determined to keep it like this sacred, which I love Boston. Like, honestly, Boston Bruins are my Marchand is my secret.
He's your little hunky poo.
Yeah, he's my very small little secret. But it's weird how they obsess over it. And maybe it's because I just haven't lived in a big town like in it to feel that, I don't want to say pride, but like that need for the constant lifting and claiming your honor and stuff. I don't know. The original six thing, I was thinking about it the other day because it's weird how it means so much to some and zero to none. Like most people.
Yeah. So anyways, that's our 2 cents.
Also have less relevance in the outdoor games. Sorry. I cannot stop talking about hockey today. I don't think my brain.
That's all right. That's all right. However, let's move on then to the last thing that we want to talk about, and that's the upcoming games. 3 of them that we'll talk about for the upcoming week. Little East Coast road trip here. You got Boston on Saturday. You got the New York Rangers on Sunday, so a back-to-back, and then on Tuesday it's the Islanders. So this is where the fun begins because 2 of those games are an 11 o'clock start time, 11 o'clock Mountain Time, that is. So let's talk about this one first. The Boston Bruins and the Colorado Avalanche play Saturday, 11 a.m. Mountain Time.
Maybe 2 of the most unpredictable teams
right now, I'd say
in the league. Any given day, they look like a Stanley Cup. I mean, the Bruins have I would imagine that the number is at greater than 0 of people in Boston that have died from the stress that the Bruins have put on their fans this year. It's so weird. So I had to finally shut the fan off. Like my hair, I didn't keep
you're good.
Off my face.
You're good.
They need to win. Like these are the ones that.
Right now, the Boston Bruins are, I don't want to say in panic mode, but there is cause for alarm.
Yeah, it seems like they're
dropped games like crazy over the last 10.
So
like I can't believe how bad they've been. So you might as well ride those coattails, right? And get back in the win column because the win on the road is perfect.
Yeah.
And that's a great way to do it. The one key to the game for this one, though, and it's almost going to be the same for the Rangers, although I have another one for that one. It's 11 a.m. Mountain Time, right?
Dude, we have always been bad at matinee games.
Matinee games are our kryptonite.
Why?
I don't know.
Did we add up? It was like 5 in 15 games? And early matinees too. We
are terrible. So that is my one thing that I'm like, oh boy, because you know how rhythmic and pattern-based hockey players are.
Particularly this little group being lost around by the most
right. So I'm hoping that the time change doesn't ruin it like it tends to do.
Yeah.
So whatever it is, get extra sleep. I don't care. But the key to the game is don't let the time of the game ruin your ability to play. I can't believe that's the key to the game, but it is.
It makes me wonder if they just get so in their heads because they are so schedule oriented that they literally just essentially force themselves into playing bad because they make such a thing of messing it up. Go with the flow a little. I don't know.
I have no idea.
I'm trying to see.
But either way, as far as Boston itself is concerned, again, kick them while they're down, strike while the iron's hot, whatever you want to call the analogy. They are not playing very good. You need to take advantage of that.
Well, and I thought they would go on a little run here. Do you think that reporter released that thing about Pasternak and Marchand hating each other to galvanize them in hate to propel them up? Or was he just acted on?
Hey, I mean, we saw what happened with Mikko Rantanen and Lekkonen's dad, right?
Yeah.
That kind of.
But I always just wondered, does that happen? You suppose where you just say something to start a fire and pray to God the fire goes the right way, and it just kind of did.
I guess. I guess. But either way, should be fun. It's on NHL Network, so nationally televised game. Not expecting the commentating to go our way, but hey, that's kind of how it is. Next game, so that's a back-to-back, right? That was the first of the two back-to-back, or first of the back-to-back. Following day, Sunday, again, 11 o'clock a.m. Mountain Time against the New York Rangers.
Guaranteed morning travel, back-to-back, guaranteed evening. No matter what. Tell your basketball team to go home. We played yesterday morning and traveled.
We got more important things.
And I get that the schedule was apparently far more troublesome to make because we had like the longevity of 4 nations was, I don't know. I'm one of those people that that's not my job, but there are people that make great money to do it. And that
I know how a schedule shouldn't look, and this is it.
Well, and that's what my mom was talking about going to the Nuggets game. They were going to take Mac to ski and Nuggets, but the Nuggets have a matinee game. I'm like, why is everybody just their 2 games that they were going to be there for were matinee games? Which
weird.
Yeah, apparently Denver just does it all 11. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't. So the key to the game, besides again the time of the game, is the Rangers all of a sudden have caught fire.
Weirdos, man.
And at like the most inopportune time for the Avalanche, might I say, much to the disgruntlement of my wife. I don't know. Ali and I were talking about this.
Is he relevant anymore?
What's that?
Is he relevant anymore?
Who?
To Rangers fans, or have they? I can't.
No, they're loud and proud again. So
who are we trading for JT Miller?
That's right. Ali certainly wasn't hoping so, and it doesn't look like it's gonna happen.
She's not Miller.
Trade fell through. No, she's.
Oh, girl, you don't need a new angry
he's
man.
A locker room cancer, man. If you want the Rangers to go back into the dumpster fire,
he takes his anger out on his own team. Trouba just goes the other way.
See, I want him to be in Carolina where he would thrive.
I know. I need to check up on Allie once in a while because I worry about her when I'm reading Rangers news. But
there's a couple of times I do too. You know what I mean?
Get for stealing my favorite beat writer, Peta.
Yeah, and she mentions that too. She's like, yeah, that's what happens when you get a book customized that bash the Rangers.
Oh man,
I read that, by the way. So thank you.
It's very good. Did you like it?
Oh yes.
I just like his communication style a lot. Like he's not overly dramatic.
I finished it a while ago, actually. I don't know if I told you that. Like a year and a half ago.
No, it's good, and it's one of those ones that you could probably like read over a couple of times because
sure, he touches on a lot of great stuff. Like it's incredible. Anyways, so the point, the key to the game on this one though is the fact that the Rangers are so all of a sudden good offensively again that it needs to be best foot forward, and your penalty kill needs to be. Yeah, your penalty kill needs to be spot on. Otherwise, you're going to be in a lot of trouble because right now the Rangers are taking full advantage of that power play of theirs, and it's firing on all cylinders. So that'd be my key to the game.
Could you pick 3 more unpredictable teams than the Avs, the Rangers, and the Bruins? Throughout the entirety of the season?
Right now, the only other team I could think of maybe are the Kings. But even so, it's their up and down seems to be in larger flows where it's like win 3, lose 3, whereas ours it's win 1, lose 1, you know. But yeah, it's
because we're doing it with temper. Like it just feels like, but like we didn't keep him.
Yeah, it's nuts. I don't know.
And every week, how are the Capitals doing this? Like, is this? It's too long to be fake.
It's all fueled by the need to get Ovechkin over the finish line to beat Gretzky's record, and it just so happens that they're winning games in the process. And they realized, oh, wait a minute, we can all score goals. And now they're just this indestructible force that I'm like, where did they come from?
So if he is, there's 2 games left in the season. No. Last game of the season, 1 goal away. Does he take it on an empty net if it's an option? Or does he wait and make it pretty?
Because here's the thing. He's going to for sure beat the record next season, no matter what.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, do you think he does it this year or does it happen next year?
The way he's paced, I think it might happen closer to the end of this season. But again, you got to prepare for it. It's gonna happen. Just pray that it doesn't happen against our team. But yeah, back to the Avs though, like, and the Rangers. This is such a weird matchup because it's a team that consistently has a great offense in the Avs, but they can't seem to find that magic. And then the Rangers that were looking like they're out of the playoffs, now they're all of a sudden going to be in the playoffs. And I don't get it.
Yeah. I just don't know. They always have very intense games against one another. And it's not like there's some like bad blood or, I mean, we don't really have like intermingled rosters or anything. I've heard that Sakic, or I can't remember who said it. Jeff Merrick was talking about, I think it was Merrick was in on, or Colorado was in on him, but it sounds like Colorado is discussed as one of the ones that takes a flyer on everyone. But there's like really no, I don't know. They just play each other well right now. And they're generally good games. And now they'll be slightly cleaner games. We don't have to worry about death.
That's right. So should be a good game overall. And this one's going to have a lot of interest between my wife and I particularly, but that's beside the point.
I would not bet on it in any way, shape, or form because it could just, there's so many directions.
There's always something on the line at home when these two play. So it's going to be interesting. Okay, the last one we'll talk about Tuesday, 5:30 Mountain Time puck drop against the Islanders.
Sorry, I'm talking about the
What's that?
I was plugging my computer in and I finally... I just want to tell you.
Technology getting the better of you right now.
I'm always on the move. I plugged it in so I didn't lose you, and I found my computer charger.
Yeah, there you go. So this game against the Islanders, again, the Islanders we've known for years to play just gentlemanly, boring hockey. I don't know how else to describe it other than they're very uniform, they're very routine. There's no real predictability because there is no predictability.
Identity.
Like you can't predict just vanilla. You know what I mean?
No. Your identity literally is just humdrum. Like and it's probably going to change soon, you know, with why he's already doing some talking. Did you hear about his speech to the fans like during practice? He said that they're like not happy with blah blah blah. It's like,
yeah, I don't know. So my key to the game,
they're weird and unpredictable.
They are such a strange breed of team and fans, man.
And then Patrick Waugh coaching.
Yeah, that's the weird link is Patrick Waugh of all people. But my key to the game is you need to out hustle and out skate, right? Because they're not particularly fast. Right. So if you can find ways to get around them, skate around them, pass around them, whatever it is, it opens up a lot of opportunities because, again, they just play standard 101 hockey throughout the, offensively, defensively. It should be kind of easy to be able to get through that. What's that?
Has Varley been playing? Doesn't Matt kind of own Varley, or is it the other way around? Seem like what's his face has been out for a while. They're
Sorokin.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
They avoid giving us Varley though, don't they? But the thing is like as long as we are shooting, I agree with you. Skating quickly and quick shots is the thing that this team is greatest at as a whole in the NHL. So it really shouldn't matter who we're playing if we can, if you know what I mean, when we don't, there's not as loud of a way to be a particular team That is, we turn ours all the way up and go. And they have the niche stuff, but there's no way that we're not going to beat them if we're skating to the team's potential.
Exactly. And again, we've talked about McKinnon and his ability to just skate around and speed past people. We've talked about Makar and his ability for skating and how he handles the puck and whatnot. And Mikko Rantanen with how he's able to maintain possession when he's being contested. You know,
occasionally
we have the skill set to do it. It's just go out and exemplify that.
Yeah.
To show like, hey, you know, your dumb little boring way of defense is great and offense is great.
No, and it's one of those. Barzal said that Islanders locker room is so much more healthy with Patrick Roy, which is like, if you would have told me that 10 years ago, what?
I would have laughed. I would
have laughed. I don't know. I think he had a lot of therapy and like productive growing stuff, but it'd be nice to see them get out of it. Like the players on the team individually aren't that boring, but Lou has to go. And I don't hate him, but it just feels like sometimes you need a new voice in the room.
Yeah,
but
I mean, it could always start with a little change of rule sets that the Islanders have had for like years. Maybe let the players grow out some beards, huh?
It just stifles. I was gonna see what that Patrick Roy quote was, but at this point, you can't afford literally in this business to. And I get the risk being proper in hockey, guys. You can't afford to shut down the personality and the access to your players, like knowing them, and you know what I mean? I don't know what the word is for like that fan to player bond, but it's really hard to name many Islanders fans or Islander players that there's anybody that really is loudly passionate about that's not near them. When like I'm in Iowa, I'm an Avs fan. You know what I mean? And I have my like myriad of players, my broads, my blah, blah, blah. Ones that aren't super famous, but because you see things, videos, advertisements, or just interactions get around and words get around. And it's like the Islanders, what do they ever do other than did they play in one of the outdoor games? They throw the fish, or was that
they played in the one last MetLife against the Rangers?
It was a good outdoor jersey, if I recall correctly. I think that was what I liked.
That one was the Edmonton Oilers' third lookalike.
Oh,
where it said Isles right across the chest.
Yeah.
What a weird jersey.
In the meantime, these are the teams that we need to figure crap out and beat them, so that then when we do struggle against the Edmontons, the higher end teams, we're not caught at the end of the year to where having lost to the Islanders by 2, like because it was 11 o'clock, is the difference in playing who and who. You know, it just we seem to really struggle this year to win the games we're supposed to.
And we are in the back half now of the season, so points mean even that much more.
Yeah.
Toward the end of the stretch, so it's going to be an important set of 3 games that we got ahead of ourselves. But again, if the Avalanche just mind their P's and Q's, play the know-how and the games that I know they can do, they should be fine. You should have 6 points by the end of this.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so that being said, I don't have any other talking notes, so that's going to kind of run us all the way to the end of the episode, unless you had anything else to add, Brit.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Okay, perfect.
I need a stable week from the Avs because
we need a winning streak.
Up and down. That's
an important thing for sure.
And I'm sure they do too. So go on a road trip, get away from your wives and your dogs and your babies, and
win 3 games, perhaps.
Yeah. When you have a little bit of an older team, which they're kind of like the older, younger, you got to wonder sometimes if the road trips are more beneficial You know what I mean? It seems like the road would be a struggle, but might
it
help
puts
them
them in
out.
focus mode.
Yeah,
I'd agree.
Face masks together and pillow fights.
Okay. Well, thank you everyone for following along and enjoying this episode of the Cluster Puck Podcast, part of the MHRT Network. If you like what you saw, don't forget to like and subscribe and follow the MHRT Network so you can get notified when shows like the Cluster Puck Podcast go live. You can do so on the various social media platforms of your choosing. And if you want to follow us, you may do so at the Cluster Puck Podcast on Facebook and at Cluster Puck Avs on Twitter, Instagram, and Threads. With that being said, it's not going to be easy, but it's absolutely doable. Let's go and win 3 games before we come back home against the St. Louis Blues, if I'm not mistaken, and then kind of maybe start a nice little winning streak. What do you think?
Or play goal. I mean, lots of them. Mostly.
Exactly. Mini goals, mini celebrations, mini wins, and Brit needs many hours of sleep tonight. So we're going to go ahead and knock
I am working the Musketeers games this weekend. No traveling. So I am so ready to go.
There you go. Okay, well, enjoy the Avs games. Have a great weekend. And as always, go Avs go.
Fast lane when I pass in the street. Bag of money in the passenger seat. Simcoe's been asking for me on the road from the west to the east. Way up, I might never come down, cause the coast's racking up the flight miles. So high, I might never come down, so what, this is my lifestyle. Wait a